That's a first. Aloha, this is JasonSchwartz. I'm here. This is the Neutral Zone, MauiNeutralZone.com. We have a couple of guests that will be joining us. We were a little disoriented. I don't think I've ever seen the show start without us. That was I'm here with my co-host, Scott R. Bushnell, man in the field, looking great.
Thank you.
I haven't been seen you in a while, I guess because I haven't been able to get in the water to swim. So no carbs is your secret?
Yeah, no carbs. Just doing the paleo, eating meat, no breads, no pastas, no rice, no potatoes.
And it feels great.
I feel great. My joints feel absolutely incredible.
Oh, that's amazing and good to hear.
Yeah.
And greens.
And greens.
You eat good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff that basically grass-fed, stuff that eats grass. Yeah. All the good stuff.
Grass-fed
and stuff that eats grass. Yeah. It's all. It all works.
You know, we are November 4th. One thing I noted just this morning, Quincy Jones just died.
Oh, no.
93 years old, a healthy, good life.
Great life. Yeah.
Good, long life. He was a very huge influence, and I was all around him. I never did meet him in L.A. I was thinking about
Definitely had a voice to know.
I was at A&M studio. What?
He had that voice. It was so nice.
Oh, but he was...
Didn't he do Soul Train?
Conductor. Oh, no. That
I'm thinking that's
Don
another
Cornelius.
Quincy. Another
Soul
Q.
Train guy.
Okay, yeah.
Quincy Jones was the composer and wrote parts and themes and involved in a lot of music
now
stuff.
I've got it. You're the music
things
guy.
Like We Are the World, everyone remembers that from.
Great stuff.
But Quincy Jones was always just a great character. I am just looking here now. I see we are expecting a couple of people that are where they're on the picket line at Maui Memorial Hospital. Just this morning, November 4th.
Right.
I didn't understand exactly. They're on a limited strike for a few days.
Well, it's the first strike Maui's had across the entire medical system over there. Usually they've had one department or another department, but through the last about 5 years, and they'll explain this much better than I can, the local nurses and nurses at clinics have been getting cost of living pay raises that are keeping them in step so they're not falling behind. And our nurses and our janitorial staff and everybody that takes good care of us, that took care of us through all of the COVID stuff and did all that and was staying on the line, their salaries and their compensations and their everything have just fallen behind. And they really, for somebody like myself who spends way too much time in the hospital, I truly, truly appreciate these people.
Well, I know that the only way I look at it is I was looking at electricity. Now, I just looked at it because I was looking at all the stuff going on with solar and whatever. And 43 cents average per kilowatt here.
Right.
7, 9, 12, 15 cents.
6, 7.
20.
Yeah.
Even 25. We're 43. It's like our costs are so much higher. So when the hospital says, your share will be more, my share of what? Rising costs from rising costs.
Yeah.
If you don't count labor and give labor a way to pay.
Right.
Right. How do you pay for that labor? You're right. So it keeps driving the costs up, but I don't see any more alternative in place. So you have to pay your people, but you have to raise your prices, right?
Well, hospital, I am no specialist in this.
No, but you have to pay your people. You
agree. Have to pay. You have to keep them around.
If you don't, and you're keeping it down, it's like, and then you bring on transient workers, not transient, traveling nurses that get a greater pay.
Greater pay. Yeah.
And what is that? So you spank them for a few days to pay traveling nurse fees on
Right, because
on
they come
people
out of a
to
different
show them
budget.
that it's going to be worse if you don't pay us a little bit more.
Yeah.
Why does it get down to that?
That always has befuddled me. It's like, you know what? That field is so emotionally charged because the clientele you're dealing with, people that are sick, infirmed, injured. That is so high stress. You want to make that work environment as positive as you can possibly make it. And if you're not hearing your people ask for help and say, hey, this is increasing and we are not negotiating well, our salaries and everything have fallen way below.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. And that you've hit it right on the nose with the traveling nurses.
People always call.
Jason's so popular, guys.
During the show, that just shows you people are they're not watching live much. So you can find us at MauiNeutralZone.com, DreamMaui.com. Go on YouTube, Dream Maui 1. Probably, you know what? This subject is a live subject, but it'll be very important tomorrow. So if you're early in the show and you think this is just about this one issue, so many people here are not being paid a wage that's commensurate with the cost of living here.
What's happened, Jason, is, and this is what I've noticed with my friends in the restaurant business, is that we have the big chains here. We have the McDonald's, we have Burger King, we have a lot of those. And now they are starting people at closer to $20 an hour to work at McDonald's.
Right.
So everybody that's working in the other restaurant fields are going like, well, I've been here 9 years and I'm only making $16.50 or $17.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're going like, well, so the emotional impact, it's not that the restaurants aren't cutting their employees in on their profits. It's the profits are getting narrower and narrower for mom and pop, where if you're a big corporation or a conglomerate, you can spread the wealth a little bit better. You have stronger buying power. I think we're in an adjustment phase right now. We just saw the largest.
Here, Kaiser's a big player.
Big player.
And they may have money in another pocket that either we know or don't know about, but don't you have to pay your employees?
Well, it's where, let's go back to, Ford. What did Ford say? You feed them peanuts, you get elephant, or you get feed them bananas, you get monkeys, you feed them a living wage, and you get a good employee. So
no, I mean
that's not a very good quote. I can't remember.
No, but I don't know. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, it's like you feed them peanuts, you get.
No, but let's step back one step. We have this hospital that's critical on this island.
Mission to me.
They even have to train people going in to replace these nurses, and more than nurses, right? This is everybody.
This is everybody that does the laundry, that keeps the floors clean.
So it's got to be difficult in that place.
It's across the board, yeah.
So what about the people that are in there now? Bye-bye?
Well, no. I read the statement from the hospital. They're keeping everything running, but they're taking care of us, the people that live here. But my goodness, we've got people that need to be taken care of. Are the people that take care of us. Is our crew here yet?
Not yet.
I haven't met any of them, but I hear they're really good.
Whoever they are, we obviously welcome them if they come. I know that today's the day before Election Day.
Yeah.
And, I already know you're talking a national election.
Yeah.
I'm scared only in that I still don't believe after the election peace will prevail.
Either way, I don't think there'll be peace.
So that's my concern.
Yeah.
And my concern is that you and I, and not you and I,
yeah,
but you guy, the guy on the couch there, that we don't learn to love and help each other.
Right.
Cross all barriers, all borders. If you're not in the burn zone or not, if you're There are so many people suffering right now, and I believe that emergency needs to be declared and exercised. Get a bed for everyone. Try to create some kind of safe zone. Stuff that we've all talked about in all these years. Do you know that it was when Mike Victorino was in? He had a year left. They were talking $200,000 to set up a safe zone right behind the police station near MEO. Near
that field,
the Cameron Center.
Yeah, that Cameron
spot
Center
right there, right?
Yeah.
I understood there were no bidders. No one bid. No one wanted that job.
Well, to bid,
and then it never came up again.
The bidding process here is really difficult.
What that may be, but
yeah, I looked.
But
at,
I'm
I
saying
looked at some
before
of these.
the bidding process, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What are we all doing? We have no one that's going to be in charge of solving this problem because it's been not legislated on to get the money. We go back to these issues about money.
We get the money, but then we've got mid-level bureaucrats that aren't elected that are controlling how the bids are placed. They're controlling who can bid.
Nobody bid.
Because you've got to go through this. It would take you 3 or 4 years just to get on the list of being able to bid.
Well, also in this example,
yeah, it's not somebody I
$200,000.
Yeah, if you just
was
if
not
I walked
considered
in there,
adequate to make a fair profit.
There's
to be able to do these services.
10 people on island that can walk in and bid like that. We've.
I don't think so. I think less. I mean, the reason I'm bringing it up is
right.
because it's now been years. The problem's gotten worse. There's still no safe spot.
Yeah.
You and I both know old people that are disabled at different levels.
Definitely.
That are still on the street and facing a hardship every day.
Yeah. It's horrible.
You know, the thievery on the street is
that's always been sad.
And it's not getting any better. And it seems that that Kihei Kalama Park strip is it's not that it's plagued with homeless. It's that the people that are there aren't safe because there are some people in our community
They take advantage of each other.
Of them, of each other.
Yeah, of each other. That's just mind-boggling to me. They're just
Someone told me a story. A woman, she's 76 years old, that while she was sleeping with her suitcases in the park, they come and they took everything out of her suitcases, replaced it with dirty stuff and all kinds of stuff. Remember, took her stuff out. She didn't even know about it. Here it was 8 months later when she's going through her stuff, she realizes she doesn't have any of her stuff. They cleaned her out.
Yeah. It's
you know, or someone gets their teeth broken on the street and the police come and think, oh, it's one of those guys. So what do? You try to get help. We had last week, I know I'm ranting.
You're on your rant.
We had Linda Popolo from Maui AIDS Foundation. She was terrific.
Good people.
But now she's the executive director, and her job is to get the money to be able to provide services for the community. That job means that all these nonprofits and all these agencies looking for the money to be able to create the people to be able to do the job, to be our services.
Yeah.
If we're cutting down on tax revenue and we're don't have the money, so that when someone's like, let's use Tasha Kama on council, when Tasha said she doesn't have enough information, or sometimes it's budgetary. It's like I see that sometimes the big bad wolf is labeled as a big bad wolf because they're not letting something through that's for the people, but there's no money for it.
They're spending tons and tons of money studying how to do something when you should just go do it.
Well, again, you say that, but there's two different views. You can't do it if you don't have money to pay the people or don't even have the people. How are we going to help the people here and bring construction people from the mainland when there's nowhere for them to live? How are we going to continue our services at the rate that they're going now when we're getting less and less revenue into the coffers to be able to pay for the services that we want?
How is it that not that long ago.
Are we asking questions?
We are.
That's it.
We're asking questions. So
Okay.
not that many years ago, they built the Empire State Building in 1 year. It was considered an amazing feat of engineering laborers to build the Empire State Building. Today, they figure the Empire State Building, built as it is now, would take 7 to 12 years to complete. Things have changed. That's rules and regulations that have changed. The people who are actually riveting, putting steel together, putting glass in, and building the building, those people are all incredibly skilled laborers. So what's changed? We have this whole new layer of people telling them we've got to do it this way or do it that way that aren't actually working. I work in the mental health field 1 day a week. I work for parents and children together. I teach anger management classes. And what I see, and I have seen since I started in that field back in the early 90s, actually in the 80s, is that at one time I had one person to answer to and I had one report to write for every class that I taught. Now I have 3 different reports to write for each student that I teach every time that go to 3 different agencies. So I go out, work at the jail 1 day a week. I teach X amount of people. I teach an evening class. I teach X amount of people. But to get the monies, they have to, I think we might have our guest here, they have to make sure that all those middle people are there.
Not yet.
Filling out the paperwork. And we've created a boondoggle almost.
No, again, so using that in is a great example.
Yeah.
So here comes Elon Musk at the senior level. Oh, she's walking them in. Here they come.
Oh, good, good. Here we go.
Here they come.
Yeah, come on in. Okay, I'm going to scoot
just
over.
signaled Susie. Hang on a second.
Okay, we're going to bring some folks in from Maui Medical.
Hey, you want to open the door and do it?
Yeah.
Help me in, Scott.
Come
and you
on
move over.
in.
Hi.
I'm Scott.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Stephanie,
Hello.
come on, have
Come
a
on,
seat.
Now,
There we go.
Scott's going to move over,
There, I got
and
myself.
you're going to give you move over.
Okay.
You sit down, and we'll set up to you.
All right, does that look good to you out there?
You'll
All
notice
right.
over your, that's what I'm saying, over your shoulder. So I'm going to move the mic over a little bit.
There you-
It's just you, am I right?
Yes.
Oh,
Did you want me to go on
wonderful.
this side?
I'm just going to, you stay where you are.
Okay.
We're getting it together,
I'm
folks.
just going to get up because I want to move your mic over here in front of you.
Oh, here, we can do that. Just grab that.
Yeah,
There
because you see how I sit here like this, and Scott's going to be sort of
I'm
like
gonna be
this.
over here.
Here, let's.
There we go. We got this.
We got it. We got it.
Okay, make
We
believe
can't
it's-
wait
make
to
believe
hear
it's
from
yours
you.
and hold it
We're
in your
trying
hand
to
if
figure
you
this
need it.
out. Yeah,
Sounds
you
good.
got it.
I got it.
Nice.
So you know, this kind of distance is fine. We just don't want to be in front of your beautiful face, but we want to.
There we go. All right.
We are laughing. I see. I can't read. We are. It doesn't say laughing.
Oh, we are UNAC UHCP.
All right.
Okay. I don't mean to be rude. What's your name?
My name is Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Yes.
Welcome to our show. This
Thank
is
you.
the Neutral Zone.
Yeah.
Up on the web, you can find it on YouTube at Dream Maui 1 or easy, MauiNeutralZone.com. All you people out there in the land. And we're simulcast on Akaku Maui Community TV. We have a special guest here in Stephanie. Stephanie, one more time, UNACUHCP. What is all that stuff?
United Nurses Association of California, Union Healthcare Professionals.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Now,
We have been trying
you
to
see that
dissect
mic?
what's going on over there. Because I was there the other day. I had this incredible MRI where they turned me upside down, put in a spinal tap. And so I had to sit with one of the nurses for 2 hours because they couldn't leave me alone. And I heard what was going on, and I was like, we need to make sure you folks are taken care of.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's why we're out on the line this morning. We have over 900 members in our union at Maui Health, which covers anywhere from an MRI tech, mammo tech, physical therapist, speech pathologist, clerical staff, so all the ones that check you in for your procedures or check you in when you come into the ED, and also down at the Maui Outpatient Clinic.
Okay, and you've got more than that, though, don't you? You have
Oh, yes.
support. You have every layer over there.
Yes, because UNAC extends to California. So there's over 40,000 members in UNAC. And so there's quite a few people that came over this weekend to help support us. So they're out there standing on the line with us as well.
Oh, good. Good.
So let me ask simply. They boil, the media says, $5 an hour across the board raise they're asking for. Is this a bundle of things you're asking for? Is there anything clear? And what can we as the public do to share our support for you in wanting more money and other things?
So there's many pieces, right, to the contract, and it would probably take me days to go over it with you.
No, but the fact that you're on strike, something is not agreed. Yeah. Are there lots of sticking points, or what's going on?
I think the main ones that we've kind of focused on is staffing, appropriate, safe staffing, which is like nurse to patient ratios, and fair wages, right? Because we talk about constantly how we compare ourselves to Kaiser Clinic, which is right next door to Maui Health, and our wages do not match Kaiser wages.
But you are Kaiser, aren't you?
Well, we're told that we're not Kaiser. We're a Kaiser affiliate hospital.
Okay, now there's something
new.
So,
and people say, well, it's confusing, right? And it's confusing to us, too.
Yeah.
So I know that when I call patients for reminder calls that it says Kaiser on the caller ID.
Yeah.
And so when we get paid, it's by Kaiser on our paycheck. So it's confusing for us. And so I can only imagine how confusing it is for the general public.
Oh, definitely.
So that's one of the reasons why supposedly our wages don't match Kaiser wages, because we're not Kaiser.
That just, are they trying to join there? Can you... I'm just totally lost in this whole thing, because I thought you were all Kaiser. This is
no, Kaiser took over management of the hospital.
Right. Yeah.
That wasn't from the ground up a Kaiser. So they have a different relationship. So they consider it an entity unto itself, separate and apart from Kaiser. And so their claim is it's a separately thinking entity. Yeah. And our decisions at Kaiser have nothing to do with the decisions of that group.
Okay.
Something like that? Or if not, that's why I'm looking for correction.
I would beg to differ. I mean, I'm more than positive that they have a say, right, in what the contract stipulates. And so that's kind of where our confusion lies.
Okay.
Right? So if upper management at Kaiser have a say in the contract, then we are considered Kaiser, right? In essence. But I mean,
who's sitting down at the table?
And if you talk about important, a hospital that serves the whole island is at least equally as important as a Kaiser health center right next door. Yeah. Never mind, maybe you should have a higher pay, because that is extremely important for everyone in this whole county. And, to me, I don't understand that at all.
Right. And I think, all other things aside, the biggest part of it is fair wages, right? So a big part of it is you have many healthcare professionals, whether it be from nurses or clerical or even doctors, that choose to leave island, right? Because they don't make enough money here for the cost of living. And, the economy just keeps rising and rising. And so I think fair wages is that, hey, we have nurses that were born in this hospital, right? Their spouses were born in the hospital. Their kids were born in their hospital. Some of them, their grandkids are born in the hospital. Wow. Right? So they have ties and roots to the community. And I think the biggest part of that is when you have those type of people that are so embedded within the community that are working at the hospital, those are the people that you'd want to keep, right? So I think that when you're speaking on fair wages, you're speaking of keeping those people here that actually have ties to the community and want to care for the community.
Yeah, when Jason and I were talking before you got here, I told him, I said, the hospital has saved my life, I think, 3 times now since the 80s. I have been in there and rushed in, and they've kept me. And I'm still here today. Thank you very much for all those years. But what I was telling him, I said, this isn't just a 9-to-5 job. This is an emotional commitment to people who are going through some of the worst times of their life. Mm-hmm. And you've got to take that home. And at least you should do is take home an equal, if not better, wage for taking on that burden. I mean, we're not talking about, some hospital in LA where you get somebody in you never see. You're going to get people, when you get folks in at the hospital, you get uncles, aunties, those people are your family. That's your ohana that comes through the doors.
Yeah. And so, I've been in a lot of jobs that have to provide customer service, right? And in any customer service aspect, they always tell you to treat them like they were your own family.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to treat them like they were.
No.
They are our families that are coming in. And I think that's, you touched a key point with us is we don't have to pretend, that we care about these patients. These are our next door neighbors. These are, families where I coach basketball too on the side. And so kids that come in, to the ED and stuff like that, or families, they're who we know, right? Yeah. So it's difficult. It's really hard to see a lot of people considering. I mean, I've considered leaving the island just because you can't afford it. So
exactly, and you're the ones we need to keep. That kind of, honestly, historically, when you have an employee who is so dedicated to working and providing a service, that is the most valuable thing that you can get. It's not common in today's workforce.
Yeah, you're right.
Is there an active thing going on right now where someone's sitting at a negotiating table?
So there is nobody at bargaining right now. Our union team is on the line with us. So it's kind of frustrating because a lot of this stemmed from staffing, right? So we had a huge staffing issue. Management came to the table. They decided that they were going to negotiate and have clinical staff from management side and our clinical side kind of come together in a separate room and kind of come up with staffing ratios. And it seemed we had hope because it seemed like after that, hours of them working it out that there would be some type of an agreement. And we waited days. And on Friday, they came in and basically said no to everything. Wow. And so that kind of set off the final trigger as to, we had hope. And then that meeting on Friday, it just kind of all got thrown to the wind.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've got to, both people have to come to the table. That just, when they just say no.
Yeah.
I mean, then I'm sorry, that's not right. I mean, I work one day a week for parents and children together, teaching in the mental health field. And I'll tell you what, the ratios and the people in the community, they're not getting served, as Jason and I have been talking about for months. The ratio of those people who have underlying emotional and mental things that are going on are ending up in the ER today because we no longer have a secondary system for mental health that takes care of those people. So they're just lopped into the ER every time there's something going on. You guys are carrying the weight of everything that needs to be done on the island for the homeless, for the disparaged, for the emotionally people that are so far in and out of the spectrum and haven't been able to hold on. I can't believe that we can't get them to come to the table and take care of you. That, to me, is...
Yeah, it's frustrating. Because I worked in the ED for a short period and now I'm down at the outpatient clinic. So I kind of deal with more of the specialists and I work in the family practice over there at the outpatient clinic. So we're separate from the hospital, but we're a department of the hospital.
Right.
But, even that, like non-emergency care, we're seeing providers that are not within Maui Health leaving the island. And so we're getting an influx of patients that need to find new providers.
Right.
And so, we have 2 providers that are seeing over 60 patients a day.
Oh.
So, and that's overbearing on our nursing staff as well, because if we have somebody call out or, we don't have enough staff, that's normally 6 to 7 patients at a time in rooms that they have to take care of. So not just on the clinical, like the hospital side, you're seeing it at the outpatient as well. Yeah. And so, just expressing that all these nurses and all the staff were fully overloaded, right? Yeah. Even the clerical staff, I've had the question people ask, well, how does staffing ratios affect clerical, right? Well, we get it when patients can't get an appointment for a month, right?
Oh, 2-3 months.
The reason they say that they don't have enough staff is because they don't have enough budget, right? They don't have enough money? Are there not enough candidates? Well, what's the deal here?
Well,
what's the reason that we're not getting? I'm just asking, and this is to whoever's out there looking.
Yeah.
Is it a money issue? Do you need to charge us more? We've seen that has been historically what happens.
Yeah.
We need services, and someone says we're not making the profit levels that we find adequate, and so we don't have the money. So I'm bringing it up specifically.
Yeah, I remember when Kaiser came in, that was all supposed to be solved.
I thought that's where we were going. That was the reason
what is that,
to
8 years
bring
ago,
Kaiser
9 years?
in.
Yeah, I thought that was
to
be
bring things up to a level where we could go with the
Right.
strength of the larger
exactly.
home. Anyway.
Okay.
Well, and that's what you kind of talk to some of those people that have been there since the transition.
Yeah.
And it's broken promises is what they say, right? So things that said that we're going to take a turn and make better, we have yet to see those promises fulfilled.
Okay, so that's got to be hard. Another component that I don't quite understand, although I interact with some of these folks, are some of the traveling nurses. Mm-hmm. How does that affect? I mean, do they come in at a higher pay rate, or do they come in?
I really honestly can't speak on that. I'm not certain. But
I didn't know how that played in.
I'm sure a traveling nurse has to have some kind.
Stay. Yeah.
So they're going to be paid some kind of per diem deal that's going to be an extra cost.
Oh, it's got to be. So we're not really saving any money by bringing in traveling nurses if they would just bring up enough to keep nurses and staff here.
Right.
Well, it's a very, it's a tough thing, It's like if you carry too much staff and you don't need them for a while, a lot of money goes out, they say, right? But if you don't, you're right. It's like, are we training enough people locally? I guess not if we can't employ them,
I
right?
mean, I feel that they could have saved a lot of money not going on strike because there's a lot of staff that they brought in. Okay. So I can only imagine the costs, right, for those staff to come in and to house them and to transport them. And that's kind of like another quote unquote, for layman's terms, slap in the face to the staff, that money could have been put towards higher wages for the current staff.
Right. And housing. When you say bringing in housing, we were talking about construction, all the solutions. How do you bring people here when they need housing to be able to form the solutions?
Right.
And if you don't have the budget and if you don't have money coming in to grant these agencies, things are breaking down.
Yeah.
But talk about key services, the health of our whole community, in my mind, is absolutely Maui Memorial Hospital centric.
Correct.
I don't see any other that was stopped years ago because they wanted it to be Maui Memorial centric. There was talk about, you remember probably, the West Side Hospital, the South Side Hospital. Yeah. So we've created this monster. And I'm not saying that there's a right or a wrong, except how can you expect people to want to work when they're not getting a wage that's fair enough for them to live their lives? And they're running with beautiful, wonderful people that should be here living their lives are forced to leave their home.
Right, and we're seeing it across the island. I have friends that own restaurants, and they're losing employees because they can go to McDonald's and work. And I mean, we're talking about people to work for somebody for 10, 15 years ago. Well, I go to McDonald's, and I'm making $4 more an hour. And I'm like,
And there's room at McDonald's because they are cutting staff because they don't have business. Because no one wants to pay $28 for a Big Mac and fries. So it's like the whole system is like crazy. Well, once I saw that the 2 for $1, remember those dollar hamburgers?
Those are gone.
Long gone.
Long gone.
That would feed the homeless. I was like, at least there's a place they could go.
Yeah.
$3.99 for what was $1, and we knew at $1 they would make a profit.
Most of your staff, or the staff that are there, I would venture to say, are families. They're not just single people that show up at Maui Memorial to go to work. They are people that have families. They're part of the community. They're part of everything that goes on here. And if I cannot imagine. I know my kids who are off island have told me what their grocery costs are, and I'm going. And my daughter is a coupon. Amazing. I mean, she's so good, but she's still telling me, and I'm going, how could you be here with a family, going to work, and sometimes having to work overtime because of staffing shortages? That is such a disruption on your family.
It is. And when you have things like involuntary overtime that are put in place, right? So if you come in and you're the quote unquote bottom of the totem pole, right? You're
Right.
least seniority from the rest of the people in there, and you're in a 24-hour department, right? There was what was called IVOT, involuntary overtime. So it doesn't allow you to even have a second job, right? Because you have to stay
Right.
there and work. So that's technically your second job if you're staying and working overtime, but it doesn't give you time for your family
Right.
either. So I think that work-life balance, that Kaiser talks so much about, even on their employee health website is we're looking for that. Where is the work-life balance?
Right.
We shouldn't be having to work so much that we're away from our families.
Right. And then, all that overtime gets taxed so heavily. Then I over at MCCC, I hear that from the guard staff over there that they have the involuntary overtime. I worked in corrections in Oregon. I worked in a juvenile unit where I was under that contract where if somebody didn't come in, I could be there. I was there during a flood one time for almost a week straight. And I go, yeah, it's involuntary. It's an interesting place to be. Police, fire, corrections all have that, and medical have that involuntary overtime, and it's like forced labor. And the paychecks were nice back in the day, but that doesn't make
But you're working for it.
You're working for it. Yes, you are. And you're taking away from baseball. You're taking away from going to your kids' basketball and swim meets. Yeah. They need to take care of you.
I agree.
Yeah.
So how quickly do you guys expect this to be resolved?
Honestly, I think it's in their court, right, to come and meet us with the terms that, we've kind of come to the table with already.
So after 3 days, you say, so how are you today? And then do you do another 3 days? Or
So after 3 days, we do go back to work on Thursday. It is a closed-ended strike. It's not an open-ended strike like UPW did prior with the hospital where that was a couple months.
Right.
So this is a closed-ended, so we will return back to work on Thursday. They'll go back to the negotiating table, and at that point, they'll determine.
Well, I think it's really important. I would not have known about this, and I do read and stuff on Island. And thus, because I was in having a CT that was really unusual, I would not have known. I read the Maui News Now, and that was like, that was pretty weighted. And I'm like, okay, what's the real story? And that's when I was talking to that one gentleman. I gave him my card, and I said, we need to know what's going on there, because unless you're going to the hospital, which, dear God, I don't want to. When I have to, I have to. But
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's frustrating that aspect, and you say you don't want to go to the hospital, right? The hospital's the last place you want to go. I'm an only child to my parents. My mom was an RN for 40 years. My dad was a public health director in Florida, and they live on Oahu. I'm originally from Oahu, and of course they want to live where I'm at because I'm the only child, and they want somebody to help take care of them as they get older. And I'm like, don't do it. It's bad for me to say. I'm like, I work at the hospital. But I can't imagine having my family having to go in there for an emergency medical situation and be confident, right, that the appropriate staffing is in there to take care of them.
Right.
Because my dad is a chemo patient. He's a cancer patient. And so with that medical issue, I just feel that they would get better health care on Oahu. And even at that point, we're still considering whether it's going to be a move for us after my son graduates high school. So,
well, that's real scary. I always thought, Maui Medical, it was the service I've got was excellent. And
always excellent.
Now, so that just shows me that you guys have worked super hard, not only to keep up, but to keep a smiling face. Thank you. Sincerely.
I've had so many surgeries there.
Yeah.
I don't like to brag about it, but they've seen the inside of me multiple times. And
so what can we do as public? Honestly, we're sitting here going, well, hey, pay them more, or what's the deal? What can we do?
Come and join us on the line. We're there till Thursday morning at 7 a.m.
Are there any directors or things we can email, or anyone that we should?
You guys can email Maui Health Administration, Kaiser Permanente. I believe it's Lynn Fulton is the CEO of Maui Health, and we really.
She's a newcomer, right? So any promises there that when she came in or anything? Not really specific.
Not really specifically, but I think I can speak for all of us that are on the line right now. It's not that we want to be there.
No.
But we definitely are standing up for what we feel our community deserves.
Right.
And, you know, people say, well, you guys are fighting for nursing ratios and fair wages. And how is that related to community? Well, we are the community.
Yes.
Right? We
Who
are.
would say that?
Well, you know, people ask. And so that entails like fair wages, fair staffing and safe staffing. That affects all the patients that come into the hospital.
You bet.
So if we don't have enough nurses on the floor, right, and
It's
you have
scary.
6 patients to 1 nurse, that's not considered safe staffing.
No.
Based off their acuity, right, how sick they are. So it's very important that those are set in place so that we can make sure that we have appropriate staffing at all times in every unit.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have one emergency in one room that's going to keep your focus for 30-40% of your shift, and now you got 7 people that are like, oh, do you have a floater that wanders through this? I mean, I've been through this before with staffing and corrections, and I was a floater one time, and I had to go into a unit that wasn't mine, and I got my neck broke in a mental health facility by a little girl who had cheeking her medication and went berserk.
Oh.
Broke the leg of another staff. I mean, staffing ratios are so important for your safety, for your sanity. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, like I said, it's for our community. If we're going to make Maui Health the center of our medical care in Maui, it should be everybody's focus and worry right now.
It
Absolutely.
should be. Absolutely. Yeah.
I would imagine you'd get Lynn Fulton
Fulton, yes.
Yeah.
here, and she would say the same thing. Maui Health is the center of our medical care
Absolutely.
here, and our staff is the center of our pride of being able to do this. So where's the roadblock? You know, I go back to that one. Where's the roadblock?
Yeah, what I looked up, and I do not know. I did a little research last night. Wages only make up like 7.5% of the whole budget for that Kaiser unit there.
I can't speak on definite numbers.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, it was real vague when I looked at them. I'm going, okay, so where's that other 93% of that money?
I mean, when you're making anywhere from, I believe it's like 10 or 15% to 30% less than a Kaiser employee that's down the street at the clinic, that's an issue to us.
Absolutely.
Especially when there's, you know, a patient that may be more sicker that needs to be sent to the ED. Mm-hmm. They don't stay at the clinic. They come to the ED.
Right.
And so, you know, I think it's just fair. We need fair.
Yeah. Everybody should be paid direct. I mean, yeah.
Right.
We've got, Well, I'm so glad that I'm not glad. I'm really looking forward to a couple new discs put in my neck because I can't turn my head if you notice. So.
I wouldn't go this week.
No, but I had the first step of getting that new CT the other day, and I'm like, everybody there, honestly, I can't speak highly enough of the staff at Maui Memorial at the Cancer Center. I was there for quite a while. It's top notch.
Yeah.
It's family. It really is.
And I'm Kaiser, and I had a hip replacement surgery in August. So, and I was treated I felt like royalty.
Yeah.
The quality of the care is always good. It's painful to hear how hard you have to fight to get a fair wage.
You know what? Our staff is amazing. I can't applaud them more.
Right.
You know, if I could do it every minute of every day, I could, because I know and see what they go through every day, and they're just amazing regardless of the circumstances. But it is a point where we're going to lose those good people. Yeah. Right. If we don't do something about it. And I think that's where our fight is at right now.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely got your back any way we can. I mean, that's just. I'm so glad you were able to make it in. I was like going, I don't know if anybody's come in. I know.
Oh yeah, no, I actually ran from the strike line. I had done an interview and I had to run down to my car and get here as fast as I could.
What is your role in this? I mean, when you did an interview, are you?
So I'm a union steward. So I represent. So if anybody needs union representation within Maui Health, I'm a part of a union rep that would go with them if they needed representation. But I've kind of been helping in the back end, with media stuff and getting videos and shots of things. And so kind of just helping out wherever I can.
Should we know your last name? Is that important?
Castro is my last name.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my adopted kids, 2 of my adopted kids have that last name.
Okay.
PH Stephanie?
Yes.
Okay. You guys, some of you are going to see
Yeah.
Stephanie Castro.
There you go.
I sincerely hope that what we do here and wherever the media that you're seeing will come to a quick resolve for this problem.
Right.
And then may all the love that you feel be sent upstream to the national elections.
Yes.
Because in one day, we are going to have something. You guys, as a union, do you have any feelings, or do people talk about that stuff?
They do. I kind of just I don't like to speak on it because everybody has their own opinions.
Yeah.
And your union, you
Yeah.
you
No,
have to
I'm
follow
just
the
curious.
union line,
Because I think that no matter what party one would belong to,
I think just
I
get out
think
and vote.
everyone
Yeah.
would be on your side. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah.
that sincerely, that you help all of our community, and you should be applauded and surely paid at least a commensurate wage, if not more.
If not more.
You
I mean,
know,
you guys are in the mud over there. I mean, all the auxiliaries, everything that surrounds Maui Medical, all the other clinics and stuff, they're not front line. You guys, that the hospital staff are front line. They're getting the MVA. They're getting all these things that are coming in directly, and I mean that's. To me, I would think that would always be a higher paying position. In my mind, I would think if I were to be in that field, okay, and I have friends that are doctors. They said, yeah, I did the emergency room for about 8 years. I burn out. And then I said, no, I need to go. Now they're working clinics. Well, most of them are retired now. But they're like, yeah, I went and did clinic after that because you can't keep up on the front lines unless you have a magic touch.
I think we can all have magic. I just don't think that it would take care of all of our issues, as much as we want it to. But, I really thank you guys for covering this story and just getting the word out and supporting us.
I'm so sad that I didn't hear of it sooner. I mean, to be laying there inverted on a table with a drip into my spine. Like, really, this is going on? I didn't know that was going on. How did I not know about this? I thought Kaiser fixed everything. Yeah,
and I mean, it's like I said, we all thought and hoped, right, that it would come to a point where we didn't have to go on strike. It's the last thing we want. Right. A lot, our nurses and our staff, we want to be inside. We want to be taking care of our patients that we see. I see patients on a, weekly basis, sometimes at the outpatient clinic, but especially the hospital staff, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it was hard for them this morning to walk out. But they were doing it for the greater good, knowing that, our management says they have appropriate staffing coming on board to take care of things while we're out. And so we're out there fighting the good fight on the line and just having so much of the community drive by this morning. I don't think you could hear any of the interviews because it was so loud, but it was great. And so we appreciate your guys' support as well, getting the word out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in, Stephanie. I can't say enough that you guys need to be treated equally and fairly. I mean, and this is on a broader thing. I see that teachers, nurses, people that work directly one-on-one with human beings, other human beings, that's an emotional job. That's not just a paycheck. And it seems like teachers, nurses, all of that whole bundle of one-on-one people seem to be falling behind across the boards. And we really need to support you any way we can for that. And I'm so glad you made it. And I'm so glad I found out about this.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome to either sit here or go. I'm going to play a song for all of you guys, and it's called Peace in Our Hearts. You've heard it before.
Every day, worlds are born and worlds die away. Seems like now the world's so small, we see it all right here on our TV. Seems like the more we bridge the distance, sense, the harder it becomes for us to see. Well, if all the world's a stage, we're actors in a play with an ancient script of fear and doubt and greed. To write another page, to find a better way. Reverence for life is what we need for peace in our world, for peace in our country, for peace on our street, peace in our house. It all starts with peace in our hearts. We fear the dark, we mortgaged all our future to keep the hooded horsemen from the door. We're talking peace, but building bigger weapons, always closer than it ever was before. But in the land of the free and the home of the brave, why do so many people need a gun? If it were just you and me, the world could be saved. 'Cause deep inside, we know what must be done for peace in our world, for peace in our country, for peace on our street, peace in our house. It all starts with peace in our hearts. Seems like there's something we forgot, something real close to home. As we see life through the eyes of a child, we find again the truth we've always known. For peace in our world, for peace in our country, for peace on our street, peace in our house. It all starts with peace in our hearts, peace in our country. Don't let it fall apart. Peace on our streets, peace in our house. It all starts with peace in our hearts, peace in our country.
Well, Peace in
All
Our
right.
Hearts by Louise Lambert. I love that song. I think we all need peace in our hearts,
Yeah.
especially today, tomorrow, all the time. But right now is quite a time.
Yeah,
I
it
think,
is.
you know,
Coming into that Thanksgiving mode where we be
Well,
thankful for many things.
well, I'm thankful that tomorrow is the election because I'm this waiting until this election and then to see what happens afterwards has been very confusing. Each camp of media
And
around
the
each of
ballot
the
measures we had
candidates.
here on Island, or on our state. I mean, I read those, researched them, and everything, and I was like, if you read it, you thought it one way, and then if you actually researched it, it's like yes means no, no means yes. You know, we need to get things simpler. We really do. We just need it to be, okay, this is what will happen. Not, well, no, the converse of that, the way they write things. I get it. I understand it. But
You have an opinion about it?
can't we all just get along?
Well, you know, all these amendments are to make the system better. It's like putting a patch on the pool that's leaking.
Exactly. Yeah. You know.
I know. You
But
know?
everybody needs to come. You know, if you had all your friends and you're going to build a house and all your friends had a brick and they all had to come to your house, you're all going to come to where you're going to build your house. and everyone had a brick, and we're going to build a house. And if some of your friends didn't show up, then your house would have holes in it all over the place. So everybody needs to come to the table and vote. And sadly, I think we need to make things simpler for our ballot measures and not confuse them and trick or mislead folks. I think they do it, I know that legal has part of the way those are written, and I understand that, but they need a caveat on those that just says, this is what we're trying to achieve, this is the wording we need to achieve it, and just break it down like that. It would help folks.
Well, and it would be clear if, in my mind, these are the pros, these are the cons.
Absolutely.
They don't put that out there for us to be able to digest it. There's not enough information.
Well, I saw the voters pamphlet. I read that. It wasn't as they used to mail the voters pamphlets out. I actually saw one when I went to vote, and I sat out in the car and I read it, and I was like, okay, that's kind of what I got online. But not everybody is looking at their phone or a computer. A lot of the folks that are people who vote, who are older, don't want to stare at their phone and try to make out ballot measures. They want something in their hand. They want clipping the coupons from the Safeway ad. They want to have a piece of paper in their hand, and they want to read that. And
and that, just what you said about the piece of paper. And then there are these independent political action committees that have money.
That flood your mailbox.
I mean, my mailbox, I've gotten 4 or 5 this week.
At least.
From Tom Cook.
Yeah.
The first was plenty. Then I already knew who he was.
Yeah.
And then 4 or 5 more, and I'm like, wait, all these candidates that, independent from them, I don't even specifically say it's them. It's not.
No.
People with their special interests. That put out what they think, and if you see it, you may not know it. I've heard that name.
Yeah. I mean, when I was running for office, I had the beef industry put out like 400,000 flyers. I had I had the Federation for the Jewish community that was totally against any gun control because they believe everyone should own a gun. I had all these different agencies who I believe strongly in their causes who supported me and put in tens of thousands of dollars in flyers because before the internet was as prevalent as today, that was mailings, direct mailings.
And like you say, and now those that aren't plugged into the digital computer world there
are in the dark.
In the dark.
Absolutely, Jason.
It's like I was surprised. I remember seeing our place here littered with signs. It said like forever before the elections.
Yeah.
So now hardly any signs.
No, I've seen 2 places, and I think those are party headquarters or something. I don't know.
And I don't really know what's going on.
No. It's changed. But we left the older, non-technical part of our entire community, our kapuna,
in the dark.
In the dark. We're not giving them a voter's pamphlet. We're sending them a ballot, but we're not sending them any supporting information because those are coming from independent sources that have their own agendas.
Yeah.
And honestly, the voter's pamphlet can be very in the past, when they did put out a voter's pamphlet, there were concerns how people were putting their candidate statements and how, and it used to say in the voter's pamphlet, this is not that long ago, here's a statement from this company who thinks this would behoove them. Here's a statement from the ACLU who thinks this statement is with falling in lines with what the ACLU wants to do. And we had one ballot measure on there. I was really surprised we didn't have an ACLU comment on that or a mailing. So we are leaving the older generation in the dark because honestly, they get something in the mail, and I know this when my mom got older, she gets stuff in the mail like fake bills. I mean, it's overwhelming. Oh, we're already at our time, Jason.
Oh, does that say 1?
It says
2 minutes left.
Yeah.
You guys talk too much.
I know. We just ramble.
Scott, I know that next week we will have chosen a new president, new council,
yeah, right,
new House and Senate, all kinds of stuff at all kinds of levels. The one thing we love is in the air.
Yeah. Aloha.
love here. No matter who becomes president, we're going to all love and take care of each other, right?
Yes, we are.
No matter where we are, peace in our hearts. It all starts with peace in our hearts.
Exactly.
I want to thank everyone that contributes to this show.
Thanks, Stephanie. She was amazing.
See, now I look there and it says 244.
Mine says 159 or 1159.
It does, and the other one says 250.
I got 12 straight up.
Well, I think it's time to end this show. What
Hit
do you
the
think?
music.
Thank you guys for joining us. We are going to over and out.